Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The off-season is officially here, and that means the return of cheating discussions going down. Scump revealing on stream the other day his big problem with the cheating drama that happens every single year in Call of Duty, and the main reason why, as some other pros are still doing, he's not playing any more Modern Warfare 3. When Black Ops 6 arrives, we've already seen in the beta, cheating does seem to still be occurring. Is it going to be any different this year? Is the anti-cheat going to cause any better situation in public match play, ranked play, or even in competitive professional play, as we have seen with the likes of Jimbo over the last couple of seasons? Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Great piece of impression farming here from JKL, I've got to say. But there was a bit of other drama to talk about this evening, because this is a very interesting story for a women's only tournament organizer. Now, every so often we see some drama on kind of like the women's Call of Duty scene, and it seems to be happening again. So this Sakura, who is, well, organizing the tournaments, cool stuff, over in Europe, this one. So it's a LAN event, a women's only LAN event in Europe, and so pretty cool stuff. But apparently the organizer is threatening to boycott it because one North American player wants to come over and play in the event. So the organizer is now arguing that the event should be EU only, although I mean, look, if it's their tournament, I guess, I suppose they can do what they want. But I guess the theory was that nobody really knew that this was a problem, and all of a sudden now one North American player wants to come over. Now all of a sudden it's an issue. So bit confusing circumstance, to be honest, but we saw this from Kells, who says, don't know the ins and outs of this, but if it's true, it's super disappointing. And you know, this is a LAN event, right? Someone who's going to fly over from North America to come out to this LAN event, like surely that should be something worth celebrating in this instance, you would think, but apparently not. I think it's incredible that an NA player even wants to come all the way over to compete. That and everyone else should be welcomed. We say we want the female scene to grow, and then something like this happens. What's going on, right? And fair enough. Now, there were some DMs leaked here talking about miscommunication. I'm not really sure what this all entails, because when I refreshed this, the tweet had been deleted, so I don't really know what's going on. But you know, there was some drama about it. It was hidden in the timeline. You guys know how it goes. And like, there was some further discussion saying, look, she wants to go to the LAN, pay for her own flights, and now because she wants to do that, the tournament's getting cancelled. So, you know, it's just one of these classic Call of Duty moments, maybe on some level. And even Cruz is talking about it, saying, yep, I'm retiring from challenges, hashtag boycott challenges, gotta get these European boys out of there. Ridiculous, these guys are allowed to pay thousands to come and compete on an even playing ground when I want to be the champion, right? So this is Call of Duty, right? We know how it goes. Another story though I wanted to get into that was talked about over the last few days was this clip from Parasite, actually, because I mean, here we are in the off season. There's always talk about cheaters, there's always talk about, you know, Addy, basically, and here we are again. So Parasite was talking about how in the latter stages of his career, we always know that it's kind of like a known secret in the community, whatever, open secret, we talk about it every so often, that certain players are using potentially certain performance enhancing pieces of equipment to potentially improve their performance in the game. There's some debate on whether it actually works or not, obviously, or whether the players actually get better or worse. Of course, Hook very famously confirms in the 2021 season in Cold War, he literally said that he was on it when they won the World Championship the previous year, but he felt like he was a better player and certainly a better person getting off it the following year. And, that was a big drama at the time. The CDL, of course, kind of famously didn't want to talk about it, but JoeDeceives gets the phone call, we think, from Fairies on the flank, and the rest is history there. But every season also it's a talking point, right? Even like last year, when was it Slasher, and when Slasher was on FaZe and Drazah was on Thieves, they had a back and forth, and Slasher was dropping like the pill emoji in the replies. And it's always a talking point from time to time. I just thought it was interesting to mention because it hasn't been a massive story this season, really. It always is a story a bit. Of course, the Illy thing was a big talking point at the start of the season. So actually, yeah, it was a big story this year. The whole Pilly stuff was arguably the biggest one that we've had. But in the last few months, it's calmed down somewhat, obviously, with Illy stepping away from the scene. But what Parasite says is quite interesting, that he never took it when he was winning things, really. Like at the early part of his career, when he was winning, he was perfectly clean, but towards the end of part of his career, when he was teaming with players that he deemed to be worse, then he got on it basically with the intention to at least hope that he'd play and get a bit better so he could actually have a chance to win. I think it goes both ways in the sense that, sure, part of it probably was Parasite had, as many other players had done, but Parasite especially burned so many bridges that he kind of had no one left to team with, really, so he was forced to play with players that hadn't won what he had won, of course, 2013 World Champion earlier on in his career. So, you know, that's probably part of it. But also, you can argue that Parasite knew himself as a player that he wasn't exactly moving in the direction that he wanted to. He burned bridges, he was playing with weaker teammates, but equally maybe he wasn't the player that he once was. So, you know, he thought, let's get on the bean and see if it's going to work for me, and didn't really work right. But it's just interesting to wonder how many other players still echo this, and I still think it's a big concern that you know, you hear players talk about this, you feel this kind of, you know, concern maybe that certainly younger players that are coming up in the challenger scene that are trying to make their name as an amateur, they feel like they've got to do it to be on an even playing field. That's certainly not true, and that many players have proven that over the last few years, but we know that it's still done in the league. And the other point is that if you have a prescription for, you know, ADHD medication, then, you know, and maybe not so hard to get, certainly in America, then you can get away with it no problem. And the drug testing that the CDL say that they do, and apparently they do, well, if you have a prescription, then it's fine type thing. So it's always on the border of discussion here in the Call of Duty world. But, you know, as I said, it was a major talking point back in like January, February with the whole Illy thing. So, and it's calmed down somewhat over the last few months. I'll play that clip for you guys at the end. But the other drama I wanted to talk about was on the whole cheating side. It's obviously a big talking point every year in Warzone, obviously. So, you know, Repulse and Zenny were having a bit of a back and forth on why the CDL pros aren't actually anywhere near as good at Warzone as, you know, people think that they are, or whatever. It depends on who your perspective aligns with and which community you're a part of, I guess. But you know, Zinny's talking about it. Should have used more smokes, man, because this is basically a screenshot of Scump and Zinny in 2022 Warzone, not when Scump won the solo YOLO, but they played, you know, with like, I think even Zinny said they played with Tim the Tapman or whatever, and they dropped it at 5 kills, 7 kills in a few games. So, you know, the point is they ain't really all that. Obviously, we know the CDL pros have, yeah, talked a fair bit about this whole story lately, with Dashy giving his thoughts on them recently, saying these guys are trash, they simply can't kill me. We know that in Warzone, cheating is and continues to be a problem. Thankfully, in the Call of Duty League, it's generally okay, although we did have the Jimbo thing not that long ago, and there's always a bit of a talk about it. But I did want to share what Scump had to say on the cheating problem in general, because it's always been a big talking point. It's frustrated many. Doug Sent Martin, this being one of the key proponents really of a better anti-cheat, some sort of better system in general to prevent these problems from emerging, but they're always going to be there on some level, and Scump kind of, well, he's certainly concerned that it's going to ruin the game for another year again.
Scumpy, why don't you play Modern Warfare 3? Is it because of the cheaters? What's your view on the cheating problem, and what do you think should be done? I think the cheating problem in Call of Duty gets progressively worse as the year goes on every single year. It's happened pretty much every year. That's just how it is, especially in multiplayer. The longer the game's out, the more people are cheating. That's just how it is. The player base goes down, cheaters go up, just like my wiener goes down. My wiener goes down because I hate the cheaters. I always end up stop playing ranked around Season 2 every year. Literally every single year. Because that's when it's like, dude, what the fuck am I playing? Every year. Like clockwork. Season 2, I'm out of there.
So we've seen in this off-season period, while the teams are making some changes, some questions from the likes of Scump and others on what they're actually going to play. Some players have gone back, for example, to play Black Ops 3. We've seen that a fair bit. Drazah and others playing some Black Ops 3 shells. Some have gone back just to play Modern Warfare 3 ranked, which seems pretty optimistic and insane to me, but fair enough, right? I mean, the players usually, as soon as Champs is over, they get rid of the old game, delete it off their PC. This year, they couldn't do that because they had the World Cup to play, but I thought maybe after that they'd delete it off the PC. Not the case, it seems. Some players still playing MW3 ranked, and fair enough. Maybe that's one of the better things to play to get ready for the new game. But equally, some are going to Valorant, some are playing some Warzone. But Scump was asked, why don't you go and play again? And he's like, look, the cheaters are too bad. You get into lobbies, cheaters everywhere. Certainly, if you get better and better, just cheaters all the time. And it's always a problem, and it's always going to be a problem. But as Scump says, of course, like, nobody's happy with this circumstance, right? The fact that the game is obviously potentially quite good, but then when the cheaters come into play, it just ruins the experience for absolutely everyone. We always talk about what the solution is. Couple of ideas: make the anti-cheat better. That would be one good one, and it's absolutely something that need to focus on. The problem is that it always seems the cheat developers are one step ahead of the developers themselves, and I don't know really that in a PC kind of dominated shooter today, if it's really that possible to get rid of cheaters on a great level. Now, it should be better than it is currently, right? In Valorant, they have a very invasive anti-cheat, which is controversial for sure. Does it work? Yeah, it works pretty well. It's not perfect. Counter-Strike have a less invasive anti-cheat, and it works reasonably well, but it's not perfect. Again, cheaters still exist. It's always going to be how it is, but in CoD, it is a problem, and, well, it was a problem in the beta. This, I think, is the concern, that this is just some gameplay, and there were many examples of this, in the beta of people just, you know, blatantly hacking and pretty much just getting away with it, right? And the other problem for this is that you get players during the beta, like Shotzzy, Beans, among Crim6, among many others, who, you know, were reported for cheating because the guys on the other team thought they were cheating because they were too good. And, you know, on some level, I get it. But the problem is they were just getting banned because they'd been reported a lot, because the anti-cheat in the game, in part, is like, well, if this guy gets reported by a number of players, he's probably cheating, let's ban him. Which obviously is not a good way to do it at all, right? You've got to have a proper anti-cheat to actually be able to tell whether a guy's cheating or not, because, you know, otherwise, it's like, okay, we're going to ban the cheaters by using this terrible mechanism of like, oh, well, they got reported by a few people and therefore it's time to ban them, and then the pros are getting banned. So you can't be having that. So it's a difficult situation, of course. Scump, I think, is on the money, obviously, but it's difficult to exactly understand what you do to solve this problem. We've talked about it over the last few years. I will say in competitive play, the solution is obviously back to console would be a big one, right? If we were playing on, let's say, the Xbox or whatever it is, because now it's Microsoft, it used to be, of course, the PlayStations back in the day, but if we were going to go back to console, it would be on the Xboxes. That's something to at least consider. Certainly for challenges and for tier 2, that should absolutely be on the radar as far as I'm concerned. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Just quickly on Scump before we close out the video, this is the longest time frame between their first and last championship victory here, and the record is set quite substantially by Scump, of course, who won the event at Major 1 during the Vanguard season in 2022 and had won an event in Black Ops 1 way back in like 2011, right? So that was the gap there. Crim not far behind. Slasher not too far behind either, 8 years, 2 months. So, you know, assuming he comes back this upcoming year, maybe wins another one, there's something on that potentially on the cards, because, you know, that was what, Major 2 in the Vanguard season that he won with FaZe. And that was early on 2023. So of all the names on this list, really it's only Slasher that can look to potentially touch Scump's record, or feasibly Kenny. I mean, could Kenny still be winning events in another 4 years? Absolutely, you'd think that might be possible. So, you know, that's a name to keep your eye on. And there's some other ones as well as we go further down in terms of active players. Clay, if he still competes, he's still around. Then Kenny is actually third. Attach, Dashy is at 5 years, 7 months. But is he going to go another 5+ years to try and break Scump's record? Not like that's the goal, obviously. You're not trying to break Scump's record of longest time frame between first and last. But, you know, somebody might well have a chance. I feel like Kenny, you know, I wouldn't bet on him to retire anytime soon. I feel like he enjoys it too much. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Simp, 5 years. aBeZy, 5 years. Some pretty similar numbers here, as you might well expect. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments section below. If you guys want something else to watch, go check out the craziest moments of the 2024 season video we just uploaded on the Breaking Point channel. Loads of you guys are watching that live on the premiere as well. Sensational bit of content the boys put together here. So, you know, worth your support. We'd really appreciate it. Drop a like, all that good stuff. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I've only taken Addy like 4 or 5 times in my life too.
Doug,
Fighting a fucking army, dude.
You were a dragon. No, I'm fucking with you.
I was fucking terrible on Addy, bro.
I'm fucking with you.
No, I was,
Wait,
I
no,
was a
one
dragon.
time, dude, MW2.
I was only a dragon after I won. Like, when I started playing with shitters, I tried to become a dragon to salvage myself from playing with shitters. It did not work.
To salvage the shittiness?
Just salvage playing with people that I did not want to play with. I was like, I gotta do it all. It did not work.
What team?
All
Say
of
names,
them.
say names. Nah, say names though, say names.
All of them.
Alright, I'll go to your game PD after this game and I'll ask for this roster. And you let me know if it was one of those teams.
All of them.
Right. All of them? All
Yeah, all
of
of
them
them.
after you won?
Holy fuck,
If they were,
oh,
if they were multi-champions, it was all of them, bro. Like, I teamed with some people that were literally like,
Alright, but ping
Wait, I'm
crew
about
was
that champion,
multi-champ.
Chris. Did you get Adderall when you play with me?
no.
How about
Yay!
ping crew?
I was playing with Karma and Apathy. Of course, I was not on the beam.
Hey man, so you didn't take any Addy with me,
No.
and I'm a multi-champ. Hey, I'll take it.
Bro,
I'll take
when
it.
I started taking that shit, when I started playing with people I knew had no hopes of winning and literally had not even won once. Like.